Hey, what's up, YouTube? I hope you guys are doing amazing. Before I get rolling on this video is going to be a lot more raw, real. I'm going to get a point of view from Jason Aldean's latest song, Try That in a Small Town. So if you're easily triggered, you may not want to watch this video. If you're a snowflake and you melt very easily, do not watch this video. Now, I'm going to be breaking down this video from the aspect of somebody who has lived an urban life, which I have, believe it or not. I'm wearing a cowboy hat right now, but I have lived that urban lifestyle and lived the small town lifestyle, the Western lifestyle, the cowboy lifestyle. If you don't know me, my name's Tyson. I've been a professional rodeo athlete for over 20 years. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a small business owner, and I currently live in a small town. Most of the people where I live wear cowboy hats. They understand rodeo. They understand the Western lifestyle, but it wasn't always that way for me. When I was young, my parents got divorced, and when my parents got divorced, it was a rough split. I actually went to live with my mom in Kansas City in a very urban environment. Now, it wasn't the projects, it wasn't the worst of the worst, but it was still pretty bad. And so I'm going to be breaking down this video from Jason Aldean, Try That in a Small Town. Please let me know what you think about what I'm saying, what he said, if you think it's racist, if you don't think it's racist, and do that in the comments below, because I want to see your point of view. No matter where you're coming from, if you're a cowboy, if you're in a small town, if you live in an inner city, we're going to break it down, and we're going to bring it to you. I'm going to put it in the corner here. We're just going to listen to it. We're not going to listen to it all the way through. I'm going to break it down as we're going.
Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like, cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough? Well, try that in a small town, see how far you make it down.
So I've heard that they said this video is racist. I'd like to point something out. I have lived both existence. As a young man, I grew up in Kansas City, very urban area. My biggest influences at a young age, from the age of like 5 all the way to like 12, was Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, NWA, Ice Cube, Mac 10, all these gangster rappers. And that was my biggest influence as a young man. Now, what I'd like to point out about this video is it shows people getting carjacked. It shows people spitting in cops' faces. It shows people doing all this stuff. And it's interesting that people would say that it's racist. And I don't know anybody in the right mind that would think it's okay to destroy somebody else's property, to steal somebody's car, to blatantly disrespect somebody who's doing nothing wrong, who's literally just there to spit in somebody's face. Now, I understand there's injustices all over the place, but I would say the people that are calling this video racist are actually the racist one. And here's my reason why. Because if they're insinuating that only black people do these crimes, that to me is racist. Or if they're insinuating that the majority of people that commit these crimes in inner city are black people, that to me is racist. Now that I live the country lifestyle, I think that whether you're in the city or you're in the country, it doesn't matter. Respect people, be kind to people. I mean, I know that crime is much higher in an inner city than it is anywhere else. Why is that? Is because people are oppressed. People are put down. And I like to look at things as like everything's my fault. If I live in an inner city and I don't like it there, move out. I would beg you to move to a small town if that's you. Because I've lived both lifestyles. I remember the morning after my mother was almost kidnapped, drugged to a car, screaming and crying and begging for somebody to help her, thinking about how unsafe we were in that environment that we were in. I thought that I almost lost my mother. It's only because she was kicking and screaming and yelling and biting that she wasn't abducted. And the neighbors heard and people started coming out. And the guy, the coward guy, got so scared that he turned and ran away. Guess what? Here's the thing about it. These guys that are committing all this stuff, these girls that are committing all this stuff, 9 times out of 10, they're wearing a mask. Why are they wearing a mask? It's because they don't have enough integrity to put their face out there and say, this is what I believe in. Now, I live in a small town now. Matter of fact, I live 25 minutes from town, way out in the middle of nowhere. But the truth is, I will show you my face because I'm proud of what I'm doing. Yeah, there's injustices. I get that. I understand that. I think most of the people who live in an inner city or live in an urban environment that are watching this video understand that there is right and there is wrong. And it has nothing to do with race. Where I come from, I don't care what background you are, what religion you are, what color you are, what political party you are. It doesn't matter. If you're a good human being, you're welcome. If you're a good human being and you believe in what is right and you're willing to help people out, then you're welcome in a small town. You're welcome where I'm from. We don't walk by somebody who's down. We help them up. More to that to come in a minute. So let's get on with the video.
Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't try that in a small town.
So around here we take care of our own. That's the lifestyle of a small town. If you're from an urban area, I beg you to come live in a small town. I beg you to come live in a small town. Please do, because if you're a good person and you don't want to jack with all the stuff like this lady in this video I'm about to show you, come try a small town. There's no reason for you to pay thousands of dollars living in a 900 square foot apartment that gives you absolutely no joy, fearing if your car is broken into when you go back to your car the next morning. Check out this little video that I seen from a young lady in San Francisco just a little bit ago.
I'm literally shaking right now. I was just getting groceries and I live in San Francisco and I never really feel fully safe. If you live in San Francisco, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And I just got groceries. I'm walking out of the store and this guy is walking past me and says, "Move, you stupid bitch." And he spits in my face, spits all over my face. And then I say, "Excuse me, did you just spit in my face?" And he says, "Move or I'll rape you." There's also people everywhere and everyone's just walking by because they're like, I can't handle something else in San Francisco. It's always something else. I don't even know why I'm posting this. If you live in San Francisco, do you feel this way all the time? I don't feel safe, ever. I literally never feel safe. It's better when it's daylight. But nighttime, no, not leaving my house.
Now, isn't that crazy? That's disgusting. This is the kind of stuff that's happening in our cities, and I'm not going to make this political. Good and bad. There's right and there's wrong. Now, the reason in a small town, we're able to stand up for what we believe in. We're able to, help people out. If there's a car broke down, we take care of our own. I pull over on the side of the road and help people who are broke down. If somebody's walking on the road and I see their car's broken, hey, can I give you a ride? Now, if I was in a city, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, especially if my family was with me. I'd be scared I'd get stabbed or shot or robbed. And it's absolutely ridiculous. Why would anybody ever choose to live in a huge town, especially like San Francisco? Why? What's the point? And the great thing about living in a small town is you're welcome here. You're welcome right here where I'm at. You're welcome in any one of these small towns. But the truth is, when you come with a giving hand. Come to help out. And know that if you're broke down, if you're hurting, if somebody's going after your stuff, the community will help you. Last year, we had a tornado. It hit my ranch. It hit the ranch across the road. And it hit 4 or 5 little small ranches around the area. Now, it took several barns. It took the roof off my neighbor's house. It hailed out our house, took part of the roof off our house. It took one barn that I had and took it over a half a mile away. And it was incredible to see the devastation the next day. But the crazy thing about it was everybody came together to help each other out. My next door neighbor had a horse and I found it right after the tornado. We got like 6 inches of rain, tons of hail. The poor horse had been thrown into a pipe fence and it killed my neighbor's horse. And I called him. He was out of town. His mom, his elderly mother, lives on the property. He said, "Oh no, that's going to just crush my mom." I knew she's elderly. I said, "Okay." He said, "It's the last horse that she had and she loves that horse. It's going to crush her." I said, "Don't worry about it. Let me go over there with my tractor. I'll do it at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll take care of the horse. I'll get it out of the way and your mom will have to see it, but you can tell her when the time's right." And that's the kind of stuff that we do in small towns. And that's why we have so much pride in the land and the country where we come from. That's why we have pride in wearing a cowboy hat. And you'll never see a march in a small town. You'll never see masses gathering together with masks to destroy small businesses, to loot and steal from folks, because it's just not accepted. We have respect and integrity for each other. Again, if you're not from areas where respect, integrity, honor, kindness, generosity live, maybe you should think about relocating. Maybe you should think about living somewhere where people would like you, love you, support you. Maybe if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your kids. On to the next part of the video. Let's watch this.
Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're gonna round up. Well, that shit might fly in the city. Good luck, try that in a small town. See how...
So here's the thing. I got a gun that my granddad gave me. I love that line. It gives me goosebumps because in a small town, we pass things that matter down from one generation to the next generation to the next generation. I'm going to show you the gun that my granddad gave me. Now, this is the gun that my grandfather gave me. It's the only thing that I got from my grandfather. My grandfather was on the first wave on Normandy Beach D-Day with over a 90% casualty rate. It's amazing that he actually made it through and was able to come home and to have a family, to have my dad and my aunts. But this is the only thing that my grandfather left me before he died. This is his hunting rifle. He took it into the mountains. He hunted deer, elk, all kinds of stuff with it. It's nothing very valuable, but it has a lot of value to me because my granddad's brother carried this, and before he died, he gave it to my granddad, and my granddad gave it to me. Now, I've had this rifle for 25 years. Now, this firearm is a 1909 model. It's a Mauser, and so it's a bolt-action 30-06. It's a great gun, but it kicks like a mule. Things like this in small towns get passed down from generation to generation to generation. It doesn't have a lot of monetary value, but it means the world to me. This is the only thing that I got from my grandfather. Now, I believe in the right to bear arms. I believe that this keeps us free. This keeps us independent. Now, you could say that caused a lot of violence and there's been a lot of shootings, and guess what? There has been. But the criminals will always have firearms. Trust me. Even when they try to take them, the criminals will still have them and the good people won't have them. You won't be able to protect yourself. You won't be able to protect your home. Being a professional athlete in the public eye for a long time and being vocal on social media, people have threatened my life over and over again. It's just part of it. I've had a couple of close calls. A lot of people that rodeo and have spent time in major urban areas had very close calls with getting robbed and things like that. Now, as somebody who grows up in a small town, you can't take away my opportunity to defend myself. I just won't have it. Now, I'm a very responsible firearm owner. I'm going to hunt. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to spend time getting to know my firearm, but taking them away just is not going to happen. We stand up for what we believe in. We stand up for that flag back there. Both of my grandparents served. My dad enlisted in Vietnam. And so service is one of those things that is just bred into us in a small town. You're proud of your country. You pray for your leaders, even if you don't agree with what they're doing. I don't agree with the current leadership that we have, but guess what? I pray for the man every single day because I want what's good for all Americans. I want what's good for you. I want what's good for me. I want what's good for the inner city as well as the country. On to the next part of the video.
Before you make it down the road, around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town full of good old boys, raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town.
So here's the thing. Try that in a small town full of good old boys who were raised up right. What's that mean? That means men and women, but individuals that have firm handshakes, that look you in the eye, that talk to you with respect, dignity, honor. And I am here to tell you, my friends, that the powers that be do not want you to be strong. They want you to be weak. They want you to be upset. They want you to be dependent. They want you reacting to everything, just walking around upset, angry, reacting to everything out of emotion. They don't want you calm, cool, collected, focused, and ready to execute. They want you weak. And when I look at all these riots and all this stuff, people losing businesses because somebody comes smashing in the name of injustice when the people and the businesses that they're hurting are people that live in their communities. I mean, you can look at countless businesses full of first-generation immigrants to America, which I support, full of individuals who worked and strived and slaved for years to have that business flourish and grow in a struggling community, and then it just gets burned out. In a small town, we don't do that kind of stuff. We stick up for each other. If there's a business that's struggling, hey, guess what? We're going to choose to shop at that small business, maybe not so much the Amazons of the world. And when I see people marching for injustice while burning buildings down and doing all this stuff, to be honest with you, it really pisses me off. I own small businesses. I know what it's like to work from 5 a.m. to midnight, day after day after day after day. I didn't come from money. I didn't come from much. As a matter of fact, I lived in the inner city. And guess what? When I lived in the inner city, we didn't have any money. There was always an eviction notice on our apartment door. We were always going without electricity. We were always going without food. And guess what? My mom didn't believe in government assistance. She didn't believe in taking hands out because handouts create dependency. And dependency leads to this kind of crap happening all over. I'm a big believer, hey, you got to help somebody out, but you got to teach the man to fish. You don't just give him a fish. You teach him to fish, because if you teach the man to fish, he can feed himself. He can have pride, taking care of himself or herself, your family, your kids. And the truth is, all of this stuff is happening because people feel like there's no hope. I promise you, if you get out of that inner city and you go to a small town, you're willing to work hard, you're willing to stay focused, you're willing to grow every day, you're willing to invest in good relationships and bettering yourself and maybe staying married to one person your entire life or educating yourself. I promise you, the only outcome from that is success. That's it. I'm actually trying to call the good people out of the inner city to the country, to the small town. Live that lifestyle. You don't want to be surrounded by concrete walls your entire life in fear that somebody's going to rob you. What? Why would you do that? If you're a good human being, get out back to your roots. America, not that long ago in the scheme of things, was an agrarian economy. 90% of folks a couple hundred years ago were farmers. Maybe you just need to get back to your roots again. Maybe you need to cowboy up. Maybe you need to get out of that inner city and get where life is a little bit better. And you might say to yourself, I can't afford it. It costs too much. It doesn't cost that much. There are people who have money and there are people that don't have money in a small town, just like anywhere else. But the truth is, you got to take that step. And some people might say the fear that I know is better than the fear that I don't know. And the truth is, if you don't know, then just go. What do you got to lose? Get out. Change your environment. I did that with myself. When I was 19 years old and I wanted to go make it on the pro tour, I realized very quickly that the location that I was in was not going to serve the future that I want. So I chose, hey, I'm going to move 1,700 miles away to try to find a mentor that's going to pour into me, and I'm going to work for him for free. And guess what? That's what I did. Changed my life. So for you, get out of that inner city. Try something different. What do you got to lose? On to the rest of the video. To me, this song says nothing about racism, says nothing about inequality, says nothing about all that. It says try that in a small town. The truth is, Jason's poking the bear here a little bit, and that's okay. We have freedom of speech. We have the right to bear arms. We have the ability to gather and assemble peacefully, and I totally support people peacefully protesting. You want to get something done? Do what's right. Peacefully protest if you don't like it. I get it. There's injustices all over the place. But the truth is, in a small town, we have pride. And I thought that, me growing up in an urban environment with the biggest influence of my life at that time with gangster rap music, and then moving to the country and living the Western lifestyle might give you a little bit more insight. For me, the Western lifestyle is the only way to live. You go out, you breathe clean air, you get your hands dirty every day, you do hard things, and you feel good for it. I heard somebody say one time, if you're always looking for easy, then your life's going to be hard. But if you go out expecting hard every single day, life seems a little easier. And that's how I live my life. That's how the Western lifestyle is. I love getting outside and working my tail off building a fence. I love getting outside, getting my hands dirty and doing some stuff, creating things, building things, tinkering in my shop, shoeing my horses, riding my horses, doctoring my cattle. I like doing all that stuff. And if you've never experienced it, you got to experience it. You got to experience, if you're an urban dweller and you're watching this video, you got to experience the Western lifestyle at its fullest. Get out in the country, breathe some air, ride a horse through a pasture, chasing after a calf. Like, it is incredible. And that's a wrap, my friends. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know. Like, subscribe. There's a ton of free stuff below in the description, so click through there. I've got something called the Cowboy Challenge that will make you mentally tough in 11 days by keeping you accountable and keeping you on track to chasing your dreams. It's going to push you, but if you want to do it, go ahead and check it out. There's a ton of other free resources in the description below. And connect with me. If you like what I'm talking about, if you don't like what I'm talking about, hey, I'm cool with it. Let's talk about it. Put in the comments below. As always, I wish nothing but the best for you. Take care and adios.